It's my great pleasure to introduce Kanwal Rekhi. He is truly a legend. He has mentored close to 1,600 entrepreneurs, not just in Silicon Valley, but around the globe. He's amongst one of the first entrepreneurs also to take his company public, Excellent. He is very active with TIE and now at the Pan IT conference. It's truly a pleasure to welcome Kanwal. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kanwal, you have seen the whole gamut of things right from your professional days to entrepreneur days. Is this the biggest challenge we are facing, not just as a country, but as a community around the world in terms of the financial crisis?
Yeah, definitely as a financial crisis, but unemployment back in 1982 was over 12%. And interest rates around 1981-82 were 18 to 19%. If you want to buy a mortgage on the house. So see, from that perspective, interest rates are down to nothing. Unemployment is less than 10%. There is a fundamental problem of financial, I would say, wastage. A lot of money got wasted. And there was a lot of rottenness in the system which is being processed out right now. But this shall pass very quickly. This will pass.
One of the great things about Indian education system, especially the IITians, is, from the middle income strata, we lay emphasis on education. We'd forego, few of the luxuries that we could afford to make sure that our children get the best of the education. And that's how, you guys came here in the earlier part, and now we still see the momentum continue. Do you think the education system, in terms of Indian education system, has it improved tremendously, or still there are gaps that needs to be filled?
Oh, no, I don't think the education system has improved tremendously at all. As a matter of fact, they're still pretty rotten by and large. IITs are centers of excellence, but IITs train maybe 10,000, 20,000 students a year. And in a country of 1 billion people, there's 10 million people who are IIT age every year, and only 10,000 get to go to IITs. So it's not even 1%. 1% would have been 100,000 people, right? So it's a center of excellence, and it gets the best of the best people, and they do get the resources. But on a broader level, the education system has problems, and which needs to be overcome. But on the other hand, the Indians are using other means, maybe beyond their colleges and beyond their schools, maybe tutors and private schools, to get ahead. Education is the future of India and Indians. You take an average middle-class Indian, you educate him and he becomes a world beater. And so if I was the policy maker, my number one policy would be to educate all the Indians in a proper fashion with high quality education. Enable the people, empower the people, and let them grow, thrive in the world.
I want to come back again to the IIT focus, where a few of the IITians had come here 3 decades ago, and it continued. So people like you came and you excel, you become role models. What is so unique about the education at IIT?
Well, IIT had several elements. The number one element was the intake. The JEE joint entrance exam was uninterrupted, so it did pick the best people. By the way, there's a 1% chance that you'll get through JEE, so it's between the 1% and there's a whole bunch of people behind that, who are just as smart, probably, who should have been. So that's number one. And the other thing is a humbling experience at IIT. When he go to IIT, a typical IIT, and when he gets there, he was number one in his school, and he was always used to, being number one. And a class of 40 incoming, there's only going to be only one number one, and there's only number 40 and then number 39. So this becomes a very humbling experience for people, because at IIT, no matter how good you are an average person. And to improve slightly, the competition was super tough. So there was a tough competitive environment. And of course, IIT did have this pan-Indian photos, which basically had the Punjabis and the Bengalis and the Malayalis and the Tamilians. First time I learned there was a Malayali and Kannada. I always had Madrasi before when I came to IIT Bombay. And every religion, you had the Hindus and the Sikhs and the Muslims and the Christians. So there was this real melting pot, of people, and you had to compete with them on almost all fronts. And so that environment really shaped you well for the life in America, because we were very used to diversity. We were very used to competing with the best of the best. So when we got here, we were very, very well prepared. When we got 60 Minutes to do that story on us back in 2002, and by the way, that story incidentally was started by an accident. I knew this producer of CBS in New York, and I had been sort of pushing her to come and look at the IIT, and she wasn't interested. And then this movie came, The Monsoon Wedding, and she saw the movie Monsoon Wedding, and it was about the IITian, right? The hero was the character was the IITian. So she called me up and says, "Is that the IIT you mean?" I said, "Yeah, that's the IIT mean." She said, "Maybe I should do some research." So I put her in touch with all the IIT directors, and she went to India, went to IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi, and then she came back, and she wasn't super impressed. And then I sent her to visit many high-powered IITians who had done very, very well in America. And when she saw that, she got very, very impressed. And that story basically put us on the map. But that put us on the map for what I would call the man on the street in America. The people saw 60 Minutes episode and they knew what IIT meant. But universities in the US had started to form a pretty high opinion of IITians in 70s, because we started coming in mid-60s. By mid-70s, it was very clear to them that IITians are something special, and I think that was beginning to happen in companies, technology companies, by early 80s. So the professionals, recruiters in the companies, and the universities were already building an opinion, but this put the finish on the whole thing. So 60 Minutes story, and then of course the story in the Business Week. We started the IITs, the India's genius factories, and so the brand got very sharply defined, and it was very easy after that one to have the pan-IIT movement, because everybody, now they are saying they're from IIT, they're not saying they're from IIT Bombay. That became secondary because you wanted to benefit from that brand. Typically, I'll tell you, the brand building is very good for everybody. Brand building is good for alumni because all of a sudden, their education is worth more. If you're from Harvard, you get a slightly more consideration, slightly better salary, slightly faster promotions, and then other story. Even though the other guy might be smarter than you, right? And so that part has happened. It also starts to become imperative that you go and make your university even more powerful, to improve your brand. So it starts to feed back into the system by saying that if IIT name becomes more powerful, IIT brand will become more powerful, IIT alumni will benefit, IITs themselves will benefit, right? So that virtuous cycle has set in already.
Okay. Kanwal, with that, thank you very much. Like always, a pleasure.
Thank you.